Hey polish fans, welcome to another video here at Wild Moon Lacquer, and today I'm excited to have another edition of my polish firsts. So these are polishes that either introduced me to a type of polish or just served some other first for me in my polish collecting. So let's jump right into the first polish here. This one is by Julep, and this one is called Percy. This serves the distinction of being my first lemming. And a lemming, for those of you not familiar with the term, essentially just means a polish that you've seen, and when you go to buy it, it's out of stock, and so it is on your list of ones that you must buy, and sometimes it takes a while. This was the first one like that for me. I came into Julep, I guess, a little bit after this one was released, and it was very, very popular. So it was sold out by the time I discovered it, and I had it on my wish list for a really long time, and I was finally able to get it through a D-stash. And it is this beautiful sort of smoky jelly base, very light, as you can see on the nail wheel. There's not going to put much color on your nail with this, even layered up. But essentially what that does is just sort of smoke out whatever color you put this over, and then it's loaded with these gorgeous golden iridescent flakies. And at the time, this was very unique to my collection, and I still think flaky-wise, this is pretty unique. Most of the iridescent flakies that I have a tendency of being the pink to blue to purple sort of iridescent flaky. So this one was definitely a first, and a beautiful, beautiful polish, and the first lemming that I was able to find, and actually the first lemming that I had in general. So again, that one was by Julep, Percy. Up next is my first F.U.N lacquer. This one is called Northern Lights, and this one was on my wish list probably from swatches that I saw on Pinterest. As you can see in the bottle, it is this vibrant blue with this high contrast green shimmering glitter. Beautiful, beautiful polish. And F.U.N lacquer is one of those polishes that is a little bit pricier, especially at the time. Now that I'm shopping with indies, a lot of them are at a similar price point. But at the time, this was a little bit more than I felt like spending, so I only did buy this one polish. And it is this beautiful contrast for sure. It's gonna glow on the nail. I don't think I put a top coat on this, so it definitely dries with some texture. But it's a beautiful and unique polish to my collection. So that one was my first F.U.N lacquer. And the F.U.N stands for Fabulously Unique Nail Lacquer. So again, that one was Northern Lights. Up next is the first Butter London that I added to my collection. And it's missing the cap because this is how I currently store my nail polishes. And this one is called No More Weighty Katie. And Butter London was another one that I didn't really add to my collection from the seller directly. I believe they are over in the UK. And I got this one through a D-stash, and I was really impressed with it. It is this very unique gray polish loaded with these lavender metallic glitters. So it was the first Butter London that I was able to add to my collection, and I really liked it. Very unique still to my collection, and I really like how it winds up looking on the nail. It makes for a beautiful mani. And I do now have more Butter Londons that I've gotten over the years, but this one was the first. So again, that one was Butter London, No More Weighty Katie. Up next is a fun one. This one is Cupcake Polish. This one is Game of Cones, and it is my first solar polish. And solar polish is similar to a thermal in that it changes color, but instead of it being changed by temperature, it's changed by UV light. This one changes from this green, very bright green, to purple. And the purple is essentially why it's still in my collection. This was purchased through a mystery D-stash. I believe it was a bulk box that I ordered. And normally greens like this are not my cup of tea. This is definitely a neon, at least in my mind. Very bright. It does have a very neat shifting shimmer in there that's sort of this pink to gold to orange, and a little bit of micro flaky in there. But as I said, greens like this are not usually ones that I'm drawn to. So when I got this initially, I was going to immediately de-stash it, not really noticing that it was solar. When I discovered that it turned into that beautiful berry purple, I decided to give it a shot. I still haven't worn it yet, but it still holds the distinction of being my first and only solar polish so far. Just look at that. That is really pretty. So again, that one was Cupcake Polish, Game of Cones. Up next is this Revlon polish, Cherries in the Snow. And you may have seen this in one of my other videos for my oldest bottles of nail polish. And this one serves the distinction of being the first red polish that I actually liked. Prior to that, most of the red polishes that I came across were a bit too orange, a bit too true red. This one, because of that pink leaning tone, was a little bit better suited to my skin tone, I feel. And it was the first one that I remember wearing as a true red color without being a wine or a burgundy. So again, that one is Cherries in the Snow. Up next is another one that you may have seen in my oldest nail polish bottles. This one is this beautiful micro flaky, and it is by Maybelline Colorama Top Coats. And this one is hard to read. It is something pink, either rosy or frosty. I can't tell. But this one serves the distinction of being the first of its kind in my collection. Prior to this, most of the polishes that I got were glittery, like flat out glitters. So ones like this that had this specific type of component in it were very unique to me. And I just fell in love with how sparkly it was without being glitter. And this one is very hard to tell in the bottle that I even have any left. I have been saving it because I haven't really come across anything quite like it. You can sort of see towards the edge of the bottle there that it's shifting to green. Just a fun little polish there. So that one is Maybelline. Something pink. Frosty, maybe. Pink. And lastly, in this first video is my first dupe. So this was the first time I remember coming across a dupe. Now, I'm sure that there were plenty before that, or at least the possibility of it, but this was the first time in my collection that I went to go put a collection or a color that I had just recently purchased into my collection and realized that I had one that was really similar. So the first bottle that I got was this Sally Hansen, and it is Slick Slate. And this is this brown leaning grayed out purple. Very grayed out. And I was looking all over for a color just like this. Essentially, I had seen someone wearing a color like this from a distance, and I just loved it. I loved how it looked. So I searched high and low for a color just like this, found this one at Walmart and I loved it. This one fit the bill. It was exactly the tone and color that I was looking for. And then a couple of months later, I found this Revlon called Stormy Night at Big Lots, and I loved it. Gorgeous color. Not realizing or remembering that I had something quite like it, because this sort of color is one that I'm drawn to over and over again. Went to go put it in my nail polish collection, and there you have it. I already had Sally Hansen. Now, having a nail polish app like I do now, I don't even know if that would have saved me from doing this, because they're different brands. They're not exactly going to be easy to recognize on a phone, but at the time I was willing to destash the Revlon. I have gone back and taken this out of my destash recently. Reason being is I really like the tone of Sally Hansen a little bit better. As you can see up close, the Revlon is slightly different. It is just a touch more brown leaning than the Sally Hansen. But the reason I decided to wind up keeping the Revlon is because I like this tone as an undie for polishes. And I find that the Sally Hansen I would be more likely to wear on its own still. But this Revlon I can use underneath other colors without running out of my Sally Hansen. As you can see, they are very, very close in tone and in color. And I think if you had one, you definitely don't need the other. But again, they are slightly, ever so slightly different. But I think on the nail as full manis, if you were wearing this one, you wouldn't really be able to remember which of these bottles you were actually wearing. So again, this one, or these two I should say, are my first dupe experience, and that was Slick Slate by Sally Hansen and Stormy Night by Revlon. So there you have it, more of my nail polish firsts. Hope you enjoyed. Feel free to comment down below what any of your nail polish firsts were, and like and subscribe, and we'll see you in that next video.